From Keenan Stadium in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, this is TarHeelIllustrated.com. I'm THI staff writer Jacob Turner. He's THI publisher Andrew Jones, and you're probably, it's a little different. I feel like we haven't been here in forever, it seems like. We usually got the Smith Center backdrop or somewhere in the Smith Center.
We're not in the basketball arena.
Yeah, it's different. It's different. But Carolina had their, I guess you say pre-spring practice press conference day. Yeah. Heard from Mack Brown. Yeah, I got to talk to John Lilly, the new tight ends coach, and we also got to talk to Javon DeWitt, the new outside linebackers and special teams coach for North Carolina. First thing we're going to hit on is Lilly. Lilly obviously getting hired after DeWitt did, but Lilly coming from the Cleveland Browns, had a little bit of a stint at Georgia. He's been at FSU. Like I mentioned earlier, he's a new tight ends coach here at North Carolina. Really well-respected recruiter in the nation as well. I've read a lot of high praise from him about what he's done in recruiting. He also recruited Garrett Walston, tight end here at North Carolina. I think you said he was originally committed to Georgia.
He originally committed to Georgia, then decommitted. Mm-hmm. He was
full circle now.
He was, I guess, the original point man on that recruitment.
Yeah, so it kind of came full circle. But we got to talk to Lilly today. Mack talked for the first hour or so. It was the longest press conference.
52 minutes.
Longest press conference I've ever been a part of. 52 minutes from Mack, about 25-30 minutes from each of the other coaches.
That was like 4 of Larry Fedora's press conferences.
Yeah, but I think, AJ, I will let you talk about him in a second. I think the biggest thing that stood out for me with Lilly was two things, really. He said he really had always kind of followed the program, which you can kind of take all the pinch of salt. I think anybody would probably say that.
He coached against it for a long time.
Yeah, so he coached against it. He also said another cool thing that he said him and his son went to the state game last night, and he said his son was convinced that the only reason Carolina won was because he was there, and he wants free tickets to the ACC tournament now and all that stuff. So I thought that was pretty funny. But John Lilly seemed like a good guy. Seemed like a really nice interview. Had some really nice things to say. Like I said, really well-respected recruiter. He's been in the NFL, high-level FSC. He won a national championship when he was at FSU. He's been at Georgia, SEC football. So John Lilly seems like a good hire for North Carolina, and from what we talked to him today, seems like a guy that would be easy to get along with and well-respected in the business.
He played football at Guilford College, which is in Greensboro.
Yeah, Greensboro, not too far away.
Coached in high school in Greensboro for several years before he went to Bobby Bowden's staff. And think about it. Yeah. This guy coached under Bobby Bowden for about it. He was actually a GA before he became recruiting coordinator. He was recruiting coordinator for like 10 years. They had the number 1, 2, 3, or 4 class almost every one of those years. So we ran a piece about 2 weeks ago after he was hired, kind of noting all of his recruiting successes and what the classes were like at Georgia, where he wasn't a recruiting coordinator, but he was a prominent part of what they were doing in the recruiting trail, certainly recruiting this state. Guys like Todd Gurley,
a lot of players from the
there
state,
are a lot of dudes from North Carolina that have had some success there, and we noted all those guys in the piece. So check it out. It's about 2 weeks old.
Go check out that piece by Asia.
But he was with Bowden for all that time. Bowden's one of the great coaches of all time.
Oh, yeah.
He was with Mark Richt. I know that people have their opinions about Mark Richt, but guy had a heck of a run at Georgia.
Yeah.
And boom, pumped some life into Miami and just decided to step away for a variety of reasons. And then he had his time in the NFL. Now he's with Mack Brown.
Some big time coaches. Yeah.
And Mack said that Lilly called them.
Yeah.
The position came open when Tim Brewster left to Florida, and Lilly called them. They didn't talk to anybody else.
He did say that Stacy Searles, the O-line coach, too, had connections with him at Georgia. So
because they work at Georgia together. So Stacy came in and said, hey, this guy is interested. I think I can vouch for him. He's a great coach, great recruiter. He'll fit in perfectly with the staff. And it was a very quick, smooth process. Now he's in the mold. And just from our 25 minutes or so with him, it looks to me like he fits in. He brings a little bit of NFL flavor to the staff. He had so much success at 2 prominent Southeastern programs, but then he goes to the NFL. He's with the Rams as well, and he coached some big-time players there, kind of gave him a new perspective, and he's bringing that to Carolina. Plus everything else. Small college at Guilford, coached in high school in this state, and everything else. I think it's a really interesting hire and a guy that can kind of hit the ground running, doing a lot of different things, not just from coaching, but how he fits in that room, understanding the scheming because he's seen so many different things. And also, he can sell the kids on him because of who he's been coaching the last several years. And that's big because this program wants to attract kids that think they can play in the NFL.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So it helps when you have one of your point guys on the trail or someone who's on that coaching staff who knows what NFL guys look like, sound like, smell like, everything else because he was just there. I love the hire, and after today, I love the hire even more.
Yeah,
I think he's a perfect fit for this program.
Yeah, we talked to Javon DeWitt as well, the new special teams and outside linebackers coach here at North Carolina. AJ, DeWitt, it's been really a crazy last year for him. Had a little bit battle with cancer. I'm not going to act like I haven't done a ton of research. I don't know exactly what cancer battle he had. We'll obviously do that when we get our write-up and try to figure that out. But he didn't coach last year, if I remember correctly. Last time he coached was at Nebraska, the 2018-2019 season. He's also been at UCF as well, back when they had some really good years. So he's been in some big programs, also was in some smaller programs before that, out in, I think, in the Midwestern area and stuff like that.
Northern Michigan, Northern Iowa, which has been a really good FCS program over time.
As the helicopter takes off behind us, I believe. It's only a matter of time before something happened. But DeWitt, got to talk to him. It was interesting to hear about his battle and kind of his perspective on life and coaching now that he's kind of been stepped away from it and had that cancer scare and whatnot. Good to see that he's made it through that. But DeWitt comes in. I think the one thing that you said after the press conference that I completely agreed with is he sounds almost too smart to be a football coach. The way he articulates himself, and not in a bad way, but just
demeanor.
Yeah, it's different than what you expect.
Yeah, and I think that's great. Again, you don't want everybody in the room to be a carbon copy of each other. You want a lot of variety in that room. He clearly offers that. But here's what he could give them from a purely football perspective. A special teams coach and his outside linebackers coach. The fact that he's been a lot of different places, and there are coaches on this staff that spent a long time at the lower levels of college football. Phil Longo, Jay Bateman, they cut their teeth at those places. Northern Michigan is where DeWitt was. Northern Iowa, which is a good program at the FCS level, spent a lot of time there. He's been a coordinator at different places, and of course he's been a little higher up at UCF, and then of course Nebraska. So he's a guy who fits in really well, because I think when you think about him in that room in a meeting, and Mac wants his coaches to be highly involved and to speak out about what they're doing. Okay, they want to be very, very proactive in that room. Yeah. He's a guy that fits as well.
Oh yeah.
He's a different personality than Lilly, but that's good.
Oh yeah.
Because those guys could sit next to each other and find common ground, and they can work through things, whether it's schematically or whether they're discussing some of the issues with the personnel in the program. And these are things that a lot of fans don't think about because they just see the product on the field on Saturdays. But guys, there's 52 weeks of the year that go into producing 12 Saturdays.
Yeah, it's the thing about football.
And so much of it is done in that room, with these guys discussing things and dealing with the personal issues that players bring to the table. So I think he's a really good guy who could offer perspective because of what he's been through.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And then, by the way, he can recruit. He spent so much of his career recruiting in Florida, in the Miami area, up to Tampa, Orlando. He's recruited the Atlanta area. He's got family. His parents live in Myrtle Beach
area.
He joked that he actually is related to every assistant, or every coaching staff in some degree in southeastern South Carolina. We're not under attack, by the way.
Sounds like we're in like Vietnam or something.
I know, exactly. So I think he fits in perfectly. He brings to them some interesting ideas about special teams, which he spoke very passionately about. He kind of joked like not every guy wants to be the special teams coach, but he fully embraces this, and I think he's going to bring some wrinkles to what they do. There's a lot of nuances to special teams, but he did say that was a simple philosophy makes for fast feet or something like that.
Fast feet,
So you'll see lots of schemes, but there's simplicity within those schemes because they understand that if a guy gets hurt, it may affect you at linebacker, but he could also be a dude that's on 2 or 3 special teams. So you've got to pull someone quickly, get them out there, and they have to be able to understand the scheme and not be overwhelmed by it.
Yeah. Last thing we're going to touch on is obviously Mac Brown. I have to talk about him. 52-minute press conference, maybe give or take a few minutes. Maybe it was a little bit under, a little bit over, but was that his longest one we've had? Was it? It had to be, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. His longest one before was like 30.
It was a long one. I think his opening, to give you a little perspective, his opening statement was about 15 minutes. I think we've had a couple Roy Williams press conferences this year that have been about 15 to 20. So that kind of tells you all you need to know. I mean, Roy's not a big opening statement
guy. The longest opening statement I've ever been
It was unbelievable. I mean, it's awesome for us because you get so much information from it, information we can continue to roll out over the next few weeks on TarIllustrated.com. A little plug right there. But AJ, Mac Brown, very enthusiastic today. Gave a lot of updates on injuries, spring practice, just a lot of different things. I mean, my brain's like mush listening to all that stuff. But I think the biggest thing today is Mac. You can tell Mac Brown's motivated. He's fired up.
Yeah.
He's very optimistic for what the season. He said it. We're not here to just win games. We're here to compete for championships now. Yeah. So this program is going to, from what we've heard from Mac and what he's saying, this program is getting ready to take that next step where they're competing for ACC titles and whatnot, and not just surviving and scratching and clawing to get to 7 wins. So it's going to be interesting. But I think Mac Brown today, the biggest thing I'm taking away from it is spring practice information, moving it up, injuries, guys that have stepped up in spring practice, whether it be early enrollees or guys that are already there. But just a ton of stuff. Be sure to check out the full press conference, and I'll write up on that on TarIllustrated.com. But a lot of good stuff from Mac today.
Well, they know what they're dealing with now. This time a year ago, they had 1,000 questions about what they were dealing with from a personnel standpoint, and also from kind of the psyche of the team. They had to do a lot of healing, and they were doing healing before they even got onto the field practicing last year. Then they had to do a lot of it in the spring and in the summer when they got the kids in August before they even took the field against South Carolina. They didn't know what they had, and they were figuring out as the season went along. So they're so much further ahead from a tactical standpoint and from an understanding what they have standpoint than they were this time a year ago. And because of that, Brian Hess told Max, said, look, I want these guys in the weight room longer, 2 weeks longer, before spring practice than a year ago, so they could be a little bit more ready for spring practice. They had some injuries in the spring last year. I don't know if that was a reason why, but certainly there's a method to why they're doing this here. So they're going to start on March 17th. They started this particular upcoming weekend a year ago. So it's 2 week difference. Still, they're going to have the spring game on April 18th. So they're going to jam stuff in a little bit more than they did a year ago, which is great, I think. And they know what they have. So there's a lot of different things they're going to hit on in spring practice with specific things that we'll hit on a video as we get closer to the start of spring practice. But what I sensed from Mac today was absolute excitement.
Oh, yeah, that's the biggest thing.
Just kind of knowing the lay of the land. Yeah. You know, last year was just question marks. We don't know who the leaders are going to be. We don't know how these kids are going to respond to our style of coaching. The staff had never worked together before. Mac had never worked with Longo. He never worked with Bateman. There were so many new things. Now that stuff, you got 2 new coaches who have to fit in. From our understanding, Javon DeWitt has been here 7 weeks or so. He's fitting in well. 2 weeks for Lily, about 2 weeks for Lily. He's fitting in well. So the program is so much further ahead. And you got a coach saying, look, we want to win the Coastal. Last year, they just want to make them feel good about themselves. So it's a totally different mission now. And so we're going to have a lot of different types of reporting for you through spring practice than we did last year, because it's not going to be about what do you think about Mac. It's, you know, what does it say about a Hall of Fame coach that wants to coach you guys? That stuff's in the past. Now it's about winning. Now it's about getting better in the red zone. Now it's about getting better defensively in the red zone. Now it's about tackling in space better. Now it's about getting some depth on the defensive line. Now it's about maybe a few guys have moved positions. For example, Awesome Richards is going to be the left tackle when they open the spring. THI Murray is going to be the backup at center. He's a redshirt freshman, as well as Jonathan Adorno, a true freshman who just enrolled in January. So we're going to be able to focus more on absolute specifics, which is exciting for me, because sometimes it got a little old. It did. Writing, the guys are excited to have Mac Brown here. That was the kind of thing. Of course they were. We were excited in media to cover it because it was a lot of new, interesting stories, but it did get old after a while. So you guys are going to enjoy the spring practice coverage, because there's going to be so much stuff there. And the feel around here is completely different. I mean, it was excitement last year. Wow, this is great. But now it's like okay. Buzz, we're excited, but we actually can do some things. That's kind of the vibe that we get here, and that is my take today. There's a lot of stuff that we're going to roll out the next few days from today's press conference. We got 3 or 4 notebooks coming out the next several days, in addition to the stuff that we're reporting today and tomorrow. And I got to go to Syracuse this weekend.
Never ends. Got to
wait. I mean, this basketball team, we're going to intertwine as much football stuff as we can with the basketball coverage leading up to spring practice, but we're going to be all over it, and there's going to be a ton to report, and I'm excited about that, because I love having stuff to
content report. For TarIllustrated.com, I've been Jacob Turner, he's been Andrew Jones. We'll go ahead and end this video so we take it too long, but thank you guys for watching. As always, obviously AJ will be up in Syracuse on Saturday for Carolina's game against the Orange, so be sure to stay tuned for that. A lot of football stuff coming out over today, the next couple of days, over the next few weeks, really. Ton of stuff from today. We could probably, numerous pieces we could write, so it'd be fun to do all that, but thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you guys next time.